Every time we turn around, there's a new live-action remake of a Disney classic. Yet fans know that some Disney movies make way more sense being translated into live action than others. Disney can't blame us for having some opinions about which ones we want to see next. What are you more interested in? Seeing Elsa's Ice Castle IRL or The Princess and the Frog with an actual frog? There are more remake ideas where that came from. We've got all the Disney movies that are ready to be brought to life. Number 1. Tangled is one of the newer Disney princess movies, but its source material is far from new. Tangled premiered back in 2010, but Rapunzel, the Brothers Grimm fairy tale that it was based on, was published long ago in 1812. When it comes to Disney princess movies being rebooted into live-action remakes, the outcomes have been kind of hit or miss. Yet Tangled has two key traits that we think are vital to whether or not a live-action remake works. It has visuals that would be really interesting to see in live action, and it's overdue for a bit of a retelling. Number 2. Speaking of Disney princess movies we'd love to see in live action form, this one's a no-brainer. With all Elsa's ice magic, that amazing castle, and of course her famous quick change, there are plenty of parts of this movie that would be fun to see done for a live action version. Plus, there are so many people we could imagine taking on the Anna and Elsa roles. Oh, and we want to see Sven, of course. Number 3. Speaking of animals we'd really like to see IRL, or CGI anyway, it's The Princess and the Frog. We can just imagine how all of these animals would look if they were made to look more realistic. Plus, since there actually are humans in this movie, it wouldn't be all CGI and would be partially actually live action, a la the live action remake of The Jungle Book. Just think about how cool When We're Human would be in a more realistic looking scene. We think this would be one fun movie. If you agree that animated movies are a lot of fun, then you should join us over at The Things Animated for more videos like this one. Like and subscribe to see them all.
You must kiss me.
Number 4. Encanto sure made a splash when it premiered in 2021, and it left everyone, contrary to instruction, talking about Bruno. We'd love to see the Madrigals, Bruno included, in the flesh. It would feel like a real elaborate movie musical with big musical numbers. Plus, who wouldn't want to see all the magic really play out? Number 5. The Emperor's New Groove has to be one of Disney's more underrated films, and as a result, we think it's overdue for a second life. Sure, getting the Emperor Kuzco/Llama transformation just right in a live-action movie would take some work, but we think they're up to the challenge. And come on, we all want to see what Yzma would really look like. Number 6. Speaking of characters we'd love to see in live action, we can only imagine how Merida would be cast. The archery elements of Brave would be amazing to see in live action, as would the whole Bear family. Number 7. Come to think of it, we're pretty surprised that Pocahontas hasn't gotten a live-action remake yet. This movie would be visually stunning with all the shots of nature, and it would also be a great opportunity to change some of the famous historical inaccuracies of the original. And Grandmother Willow in CGI? Come on, that's bound to be cool. Number 8. In general, we think the Disney movies that follow animals entirely aren't the best candidates for live-action remakes. It's really just changing one animation style to another, which is what inspired many fans to ask, what's the point, when the live-action Lion King came out. The Aristocats, however, is an exception to this rule. Basically, we want to see little kittens playing the piano, and we think everyone else should want to see it too. Plus, we think this movie was great, but had a few very questionable moments. We'd love to see the remake do away with these parts and lean into what made this movie so great. Number 9. This one is sure to be controversial, but we think it's time for a live-action remake of The Nightmare Before Christmas. Lots of people may be against this idea since the stop-motion animation is such a big part of what made this film what it is. Yet the wild world and characters in this movie would make for such a unique and visually interesting movie musical. We could see this adaptation being really dark and coming out around Halloween to really take advantage of the vibes. Number 10. Calling all Oliver and Company fans, this movie didn't gain the popularity it deserved the first time around, which is why it's ready for its renaissance. Remaking this movie with CGI and the help of real animals like the live-action Lady and the Tramp remake could make this movie shine, and the amazing soundtrack won't hurt either. Number 11. Another older Disney film that didn't retain as much popularity is the 1963 film The Sword in the Stone. The Sword in the Stone is a very unique story with a unique setting compared to other classic Disney films, and turning it into a live-action adaptation would surely make for a very interesting film. Plus, since this movie is so old and didn't really stand the test of time the way some others have, this remake would bring it to a new audience and give it a new life. Number 12. Just like The Sword and the Stone, a live-action Hercules remake would make for a very unique and welcome film. Seeing all the Greek gods as real people and Mount Olympus as a realistic place would be a movie unlike any other. And this movie would bring the soundtrack that many of us knew and loved as kids to a whole new generation. Number 13. Up is a movie with many fans, but that's not the only reason why it's ready for a remake. We would love to see what these characters would look like in real life. And that iconic image of the house held by balloons? We'd be excited for a ticket to this one. Number 14. The Incredibles is another super popular Disney movie, and live-action superhero movies are certainly something that Disney does well that get plenty of buzz at the box office. It would be so fun to see who gets cast as members of this famous family. And seeing effects like Elastigirl's powers on someone real would be cool for fans for all ages to watch. Number 15. The Hunchback of Notre Dame remake may not be as great for fans of all ages, but it should still happen. This is one of the darkest Disney classics, and that's why bringing this one to life would be unlike any other. The visuals and soundtrack would shine in a live-action version, and it would allow this story to be told for a more mature audience. Number 16. The Rescuers is another classic that we haven't seen so much of over the years. Not only would it be great to see this brought to a new audience, but the cast of characters that are both humans and animals with unique visuals would make for a really fun live-action flick. Which movie would you be most excited to see in live action? What do you think makes the best live-action remakes? Let's talk about it in the comments, and for more videos about all your animated favorites, like and subscribe to The Things Animated.